place in the brain were negative. The loss of brain cells with aging, the result of damage, like a stroke. And then studies began to show remarkable amounts of reorganization in the adult brain. And the ensuing research has shown us that all of our behaviors change our brain. That these, or the short-term improvement in the performance of a motor skill. The second way that the brain can change to support learning is by altering its structure. So during learning, the brain can change the connections between neurons. Now here, the physical structure of the brain is actually changing, so this takes a bit more time. These types of changes are related to long-term memory. In the long term, to help the brain recover from stroke. And frankly, we have failed to develop effective rehabilitation. Individual patterns of variability and change
and work on. I want us to start here. How it's not just about positive thinking. So let's begin with this. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're really worried about something and you kept worrying even though you knew that almost like a computer, I just take information in. But in reality, I think, is really affecting how we perceive life, how we perceive different situations. And I'd like us to explore this further in a little thought experiment. So I invite you all to think back at the last time that you had a valuable conversation with your boss or manager. And I'm quite sure that you have experienced a lot of difference in how you contribute to your workplace. But I'm also quite sure that you have experienced something that you can improve with yourself today, here and now. Definitely how we perceive our life, how we perceive our relationship. But this comes with good news and bad. The good news is that happiness is not something you find outside of your work. But the problem is that we just don't do it. And this definitely applies for myself. This is the worst part of having written a book on happiness, because whenever I'm having a bad day, there's always someone who can do it. Oh, haven't you read your own book, Katarina? You should know exercise to sustain physical health. Psychological version of
a person who cultivates an area of interest, such as the arts, without serious commitment or knowledge. Synonyms include dabbler, tinkerer, trifler, amateur, non-professional, non-special. Over time, I noticed this growing sense of unease. I never quite felt comfortable in my own skin. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I was terrified that someone would find out. It felt good to finally confess how stressed and sad I was. The antidepressants, though, they just made me feel numb. Instead of low moods, I felt flat. But the third prescription she gave me was the most effective and the most surprising. To this doctor, it seemed completely logical and totally acceptable that I should engage in an activity.
Now, just over a year ago, my sister and I took a 4-day vacation to Jasper, Alberta. This was the first no-work vacation I had taken in 4 years. Connected over 4 years. This was practically a new experience again. It wasn't until the 4th day I was there that I was for most of my career. That means I work with a lot of 18 to 24-year-olds, which also happens to be the most active demographic.
Which leads me to the third stressor on social media. Number 4, online harassment. 40% of online adults have experienced online harassment. 73% have witnessed it. And the unfortunate reality is that it is much worse and much more likely if you're a woman, LGBTQ, person of color, Muslim. I think what I mean social media is neither good nor bad. It's just the most recent tool we're using to do what we've always done. Tell stories on television for a bad TV show. Twitter doesn't make people write hateful posts. So when we talk about this dark side of social media, what we're really talking about is the dark side of people. That dark side that makes harassers harass, that insecurity that makes you take down a photo you were excited to share, that dark side that looks at a picture of a happy family and wonders why yours doesn't look like that. So as parents, as educators, as friends, as bosses, this dark side is what we need to focus on. We need preventative strategies and coping strategies so that when you have your low days, because you will, when you're questioning your self-worth, you never get as low as Tyler Clementi. And many others like him. Okay, having fun in social media wellness. Here's the good news. Move on to step 3. Create a better online experience. After my partner did his audit, he realized his self-worth was too tied up in social media, but particularly celebrities reminding him of the things he didn't have. So he unfollowed all brands and all celebrities, and that worked for him.
Probably you're right to this right. Why was I wrong? Right? I want you to do my path personal start.
This was your kid. You, for example, you might tell yourself, my God.
But the number of this level of the quality, so excuse me, the lower than usual production qualities for my in 2002. So this was shortly
for the mirror. Hey, I'm sounding good. And then right in front of my